Continue with the same topic, that is counseling. So where I have in the previous video I was dealing with the direct counseling. So in case of this direct counseling, where we have studied about what is direct counseling and what are the steps of direct counseling. So now we'll see what are the advantages and disadvantages of this direct counseling. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of direct counseling? So advantages is that it consumes less time, as only counselor will be talking, because we are giving more importance to counselor, so therefore only counselor will be dealing. So counselor only will be talking, so therefore what happened, he just gives suggestion, advice, so there is no need of any time, so he can give only suggestion, advice, as he is not taking any feedback from the counselor, so only suggestion and advice is given to the person, so therefore there is no need of any time, or time does not consume a lot. Okay, time will not be consuming a lot, so that is usually about this time saving. So next is economic, and also yeah, same thing only here. So as time is not wasted, so money is also not wasted, so therefore only the individual decisions are not taken, right? Only counselor will be taking the decisions, so therefore it leads to like less consumption of money, so that is usually their economic. Then organized, so this usually organized as step by step, they will be carrying out the counseling step by step in an organized way, so that is usually there. Then there will be active participation of the counselor. Okay, there will be active participation of the counselor, where counselor will actively participate. Okay, where counselor will actively participate. So that is usually the advantages of this directive counseling. So directive counseling, the advantages is that it is time saving, economic, full participation of the counselor, as well as organized. So these are usually the advantages of directive counseling. So next is disadvantages of directive counseling. So disadvantage is that we cannot understand the problem of the counseling. Okay, the problem of the counseling. So that is usually what happened. So therefore the counselor who is given, he will not be able to understand what actually the counseling is there, because if there is any discussion, okay, between the counselor and the counseling, so that time we can understand clearly what exactly the problem of counselee is there, what are the exact problem of that individual. So that is usually what happens, so we cannot understand. So next is dependence of counselor. So counselee, in this approach usually counselor plays an active role. Okay, in this approach counselor plays an active role, so the individual will depend upon the counselor only. Okay, the individual will depend upon the counselor. So that is usually about this advantages and disadvantages of this directive counseling. So advantages, it is usually consumes less time, economic, organized and full participation of the counselor. So in this we will not be able to understand, and then dependent on the counselee. Okay, depending on the counselee. So that is usually about this thing. So next is non-directive approach. So in case of this non-directive counseling, so in this usually the approach was usually given by Carl R. Roger. Okay, the approach was usually given by Carl R. Roger. So in this usually it is a counselee centered approach. Okay, it is usually counselee centered approach. The whole responsibility will be on the individual who is seeking help. Okay, counselee approach. Okay, it is usually counselee centered approach. In this, the whole responsibility will be on the individual who is seeking help. Okay, the whole responsibility on the individual who is seeking help. So in this also there are certain steps that has to be followed. First is starting up of the same thing, starting up of this session. In this starting up of the session, same thing, we have to plan the date, time, venue should be planned, consent of the counselor should be taken. Okay, consent of the counselor should be taken. So that is usually done. So planning of the day, starting of the session, we have to plan date, venue and as well as the consent of the counselor should be taken. So next is rapport. So here we have to create an atmosphere in such a way that there is rapport between the counselor as well as the counselee. Okay, counselor as well as the counselee. So that is usually there. So next is, in this usually rapport, we have to listen to the counselor what he is telling. Good communication should be there. Encouragement should be there. So that is rapport. So next is exploring the problem. So in this usually what happen, they will be responding to the problems of the individual. Okay, they will be responding to the feelings of the counselee. Okay, that is individual. So that is usually then they will accept. Here acceptance will be there. Okay, in this exploring the problems, we will understand the feelings of the counselee. Acceptance will be there, as well as empathy, non-judgmental attitude will be there. Okay, empathy as well as non-judgmental attitude will be present. So that is in case of exploring the problem. So next is exploring the causes. So in the previous step we have explored the problem, what exactly the problem is there, and we have accepted also that problem is the same problem. So now we have to find out the cause, exactly what is the cause for that problem. We have to reason. When we have the cause, we have to reason, we have to understand properly what exactly the cause is there for this thing. So next is, after in the third step we have seen about the problem. In the fourth step we have to exactly know the causes. Now we have to, alternative should be selected to the problem. Okay, alternative should be selected to the problem. So this alternative can be selected only when we have planned. Okay, when we have planned properly. Okay, when we have planned properly. So that is usually there. then suitable adjustment should be done. Okay, suitable adjustment should be done. So in this usually what happen, when we are driving out alternative for the problems, then we have to we have to plan, then we have to adjust, suitable adjustment should be made. So next is termination session. So in case of this termination session, so in this usually what happen, encouragement will be given for the individuals. Okay, encouragement will be given to the individuals, whatever we have told them or whatever we have discussed with them. So to use that, we go with encouraging them. So next is follow-up. So follow-up should be done, like we have to plan for the next visits. Okay, we have to plan for the next visits. Okay, so these are usually about the steps of non-directive approach. So non-directive approach, it is counseling approach, where the individual who is, it is usually depends upon the individual who is dealing, or the individual who is having the problems. Okay, the individual who is having the problem. So that is usually about this non-directive counseling. Okay, it is usually non-directive counseling. So in this mainly the whole only the individual will be they will be concentrating on the individual who is seeking help. So that is usually that. And steps includes starting the session, rapport, and then usually third session it is usually exploring the problem, exploring the causes, driving out alternatives, then termination phase and follow-up. So in this also there is advantages and disadvantages of non-directive counseling. So what are the advantages and disadvantages? That independence of the counseling. So in this, the first advantage is independence. So in this, usually compared to directive approach, the client will be having full independence to tell about his problem. Okay, to tell about his problem, as well as they have independence to make decisions also. Okay, they can make decisions also. So that is independence of counseling. Next is freedom. So in this, usually the counselor feel that he is having full freedom to talk about their problem. Okay, they have full freedom to talk about their problem. So that is usually about this freedom. So in this knowledge, so this is knowledge based approach. Without knowledge, we cannot give any suggestion. Okay, without knowledge, we cannot give any suggestion. So that is usually present. So this is about this advantages. So advantages mainly independence of the counselor, freedom, as well as knowledge. So next is disadvantages. Disadvantage is time consuming. It is not so economic and it requires special training. Okay, it is time consuming, not so economic, as well as special training is required. So it is mainly what happens. So that is mainly disadvantage, that they will not have any kind of time consuming, time consuming within, and also they will not be having any type of economic. Okay, they will not be having any type of economic, and this usually requires special training. Okay, it usually requires special training. So that is usually about this advantages and disadvantages of non-directive counseling. So non-directive counseling, it is nothing but it mainly depends upon the counseling, where decision will be taken by the counseling only. So that is usually about this non-directive counseling. So next is eclectic approach. So next is eclectic approach. So this is usually the best feature among it is usually the best feature from various types of sources. It is the best feature from various types of sources. So this is based on fact that individual differences lie among individual differences among individuals in all aspects. Okay, so this is usually based on the fact that individual differences lie among the individuals in all aspects. So that is usually about this thing. So in this usually single approach cannot satisfy. Okay, in this mainly single approach cannot satisfy. So they have to use different individuals. Okay, they require different individuals. Okay, but singly they cannot carry on the work, but they require individuals. They require some. So that is usually they require some individuals to carry on the process. Okay, they require some individuals to carry on the approach. So that is eclectic approach. So eclectic approach, it is mainly where we cannot handle it by singly. So they require some individuals to carry on this type of counseling. They require some to carry on this counseling. So that is usually about this eclectic approach. So in case of this eclectic approach, advantages and disadvantages are also there. Advantages includes flexibility. Advantages, it includes flexibility, full participation, ensures readjustment. So therefore normally the advantages are mainly flexibility. So in this eclectic counselor will be working according to the situation. Okay, they will be working according to situation. So this is usually what happens. They will be working according to situation. So planning is flexible. So they will be planning according to the situation. So planning is flexible. So they will be planning according to the situation. So next is full participation. As it is joint responsibility, both counselor and counselee should work out for this eclectic approach. So therefore, it is usually joint responsibility. Okay, it is usually joint responsibility where both the counselee as well as counselor work together. So that is usually full participation. So next is ensures readjustment. Okay, it usually ensures readjustment. So normally in this it ensures readjustment is seen that adjustment occurs according to the each step. Okay, adjustment occurs according to the each step. So if there is any modification required, then it should be done. So adjustment requires in each step. If there is any modification required, so that will be modified. So that is usually about this advantages of eclectic approach. So disadvantages, it is usually what happen. So they will be facing difficulty in one situation. Okay, they will be facing difficulty in one situations, and also they require full cooperation. They face difficulty in one situation, they require full cooperation. Okay, they require full cooperation, and also this is time consuming. Okay, also this is time consuming. So that is usually what happens. So advantages, it mainly includes it is flexibility, full participation, ensures readjustment. Then in case of this, difficulty in driving out one rigid form. Okay, they will not be able to make one form. Then they will require full cooperation is not there, and also there is too much time consuming. So these are usually the advantages and disadvantages of eclectic approach. So eclectic approach, it is nothing but the approach where individually it will not be there, both counselee and counselor will be involved. So they will understand the problems in both this, both of them will understand the problems, and then they'll start with counseling session.